Welcome to The Blueprint, powered by Athletic Agencies, where we go behind the brand and we talk to influential people changing the world around them for the better. Now, we've been away for a while, probably a good 3 to 4 weeks. We've been back to back at the fitness shows and doing lots of traveling, and we've moved into this new office. So this will be the setting for the Blueprint moving forward. But we're back, and I'm super excited about the guest that we have today. Probably more excited than I've ever been. I know I'm a little bit biased, but today I get the pleasure of interviewing my partner in crime, Holly Louise, also known in the health and wellness industry as the Fit Pharmacist. So let's turn it over to Holly. Holly, welcome to the Blueprint.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's so awesome to have you here. I've obviously wanted you on this for a long time.
You have.
Now is probably the most suitable time. You've gained so much notoriety in the industry in such a short period of time, especially in this year alone. And I really want you to share your story with people and some advice about how you've built such a successful online business, such a successful brand, and just about your partnerships and alignments with other big brands that I think is really valuable for people out there. So for anyone that doesn't know who you are, can you give us a 1 minute spiel about who the Fit Pharmacist is?
1 minute, that's so hard. So obviously I'm known in the industry as the Fit Pharmacist, as you said. I'm a registered pharmacist. I've been in the pharmacy industry for 10 years now, so it's a fairly long time. But I needed something more, and that drove me to complete my certificate 3 and 4 in fitness and also become a certified personal trainer. So from there, I've also become an online coach. And now I'm also an ambassador for Chemist Warehouse and INC Sports Nutrition, which is really exciting.
It's just amazing. It's so amazing to have seen this journey unfold. And just a little bit of background, even when you were in school, before all of this started, you wanted to get into exercise science, and then you made the transition to becoming a pharmacist.
Yeah. And
it's funny how now it's helped, and 10 years later, you're coming back to your PT roots. So tell us a little bit more about, say for example, your online coaching, how it all works and how you basically work with your clients. So for anyone out there that doesn't really understand what online coaching is, just give us a little spiel about what online coaching is for you.
Yeah, so for sure. My passion and what I specialize in, I suppose, is helping women specifically transition to a flexible dieting approach. So they might be engaging in poor or restrictive eating habits, and it's about helping them, I guess, cross over to a sustainable eating approach. And it's also, I also love helping women implement effective training methods that are going to help them get to their body composition goals a lot faster. So in terms of the online coaching, I provide customized nutrition and training plans completely tailored to the person and their abilities, and essentially helping them to implement those two things that I just spoke about, and also monitoring them along the way and making sure that they're on track and they're progressing towards their goals in a sustainable manner.
It's so amazing. And the progression from how things are going from a traditional way onto everything's going online.
Yeah.
So how do you think people are basically responding to your online coaching service? Do you think that people are responding to it in a positive way rather than maybe the traditional personal training method of going into a gym and or having a one-on-one consultation with someone?
Yeah.
Everything's done online. So how do you think people are responding to that?
I think it's a great model because people want to do things in their own time. So personal training can be quite restrictive in terms of times available and times that other people have available with their busy lifestyles and their schedules and their work life. So being able to just do things in their own time and follow their own schedule, I think people really prefer that method. And I mean, coming from my perspective, I'm allowed to reach a lot more people. I'm not just confined to the people that are living in my area. I'm essentially able to help anyone in the world. And that's fantastic for me because, as you know, my passion is helping as many people as possible. So I have the opportunity to do that through online coaching.
That's awesome. I really think it's important to touch on that. So you're saying you can touch as many people as possible. So obviously you're talking about social media as your distribution method of advertising and touching these people.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about getting into social media to begin with, and just a little bit of thoughts about how that has worked for your business?
I'm not going to lie, it was awkward for me sharing personal things about my life and me and my struggles and what I'm doing. At the start I was just like, who cares? Who cares what I'm doing? No one else is going to care. But I've come to realize that people do care, and not only do they care, but they draw inspiration and they can absorb your knowledge and it actually becomes useful to them. So switching my thinking around from who cares to this might help people has essentially helped me to build a successful social media presence. I like to think that people follow me because I provide informative posts, I provide value with my posts, and I think that for me has been the key success with my social media.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on your ideas of like key successful or successful keys to your social media, and for other people out there who want to start building their social presence or even just building a business from their social media presence. So you mentioned about providing value, and that's obviously something that we talk a lot about here at Athletic Agencies with our clients, and something that clients don't necessarily understand. So a lot of clients come to us and they say they want sales, and they hear that social media is the best way to get sales. So what do you kind of say about your value strategy, and tell us a little bit more about how you provide value to your clients and what comes out the back end as a result of providing that value?
Well, as you said, you can't just be putting up sales posts constantly, because that's just going to deter people, it's going to turn them away. So by providing value and giving them a little bit more insight into what you do and potentially what they could do, and really giving them that information that they need, they're going to see you as a trusted source. So that's going to ensure that you create a loyal following by providing that value on a constant basis. And then from that, once you do sort of talk about the services you offer, people will be more interested because you have, you've given them this value, and they find that you are worthwhile to follow and that you are a trusted resource. So they're going to be more interested in the products that you have to offer.
Yeah. So what sort of things do you post on your social media for those who don't follow and are interested to know what we mean by value?
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously you're an online coach.
Yes.
You're in the health and fitness world. So what sort of things do you post?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I am a huge flexible dieting advocate.
Yep.
So I really want to help people transition to flexible dieting because I am so passionate about it. And I'm constantly seeing so many women who are engaging in really just restrictive eating habits, so yo-yo dieting, they're binge eating, they're cheating, they're doing a challenge and they're going constantly through challenges, so they're on the challenge, they're off the challenge, and or clean eating, everything is just so restrictive. And that's why people are failing, especially women, they're failing to make progress because, they keep chopping and changing between things, and they can't stick to one thing for an extended period of time because it is just so restrictive.
Yep.
So I'm about showing people that there is a different way, and that it's backed by evidence. Obviously, because I am a pharmacist, everything I do is evidence-based. So I post a lot about nutrition and educating people about macronutrients and flexible dieting. And then obviously training comes into it a lot. So I post workouts and ways to make your training more effective. And something else I'm really passionate about is self-love and increasing self-confidence, which is exceptionally important for women these days.
Absolutely.
So I do post a lot about that and essentially helping women change their mindset or thinking about things differently. So I guess those are the main ways that I provide value through my social media.
I think it's fantastic. So like when we talk about in order to make sales, and we're going to get to this soon, but in order to make sales we need to first provide value.
Yes.
And you're providing all of this content every day. How many posts a day do you post on social media?
Just once a day.
Just once a day?
Yeah.
And so if we're talking about once a day, every single day, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
you're posting a
Yeah.
valuable piece of content, whether it's an informative piece about nutrition or training or educational piece about supplements, for example. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of time.
It is a lot of work.
So we're telling these people out there that want to grow their presence in their online coaching business and they want to make sales from this, that they need to put in all of this work, they need to give value first, and it takes time. Has it taken you a long time to build this business? Let's be honest.
A really long time.
Tell us about it. How long, when did you start doing this, and when do you think that you've felt or got the fruits of some of your labor?
So essentially, once I first got into the health and fitness industry, and I was actually going to the gym and improving my own health and fitness, that's when I sort of started posting on social media, and there wasn't any thought behind these sorts of posts. It was just, hey, I'm going to the gym, or this is what I'm doing.
Were you following other people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I obviously started following more people in the health and fitness industry, and I guess drawing inspiration from them. So I started, just posting a little bit more often, and people became more interested in what I was doing, and they're like, oh, hey, she's changed a lot, or wow, look what she's doing. And then it sort of just grew from there. So essentially it's been like 4 years of being, present on social media. But really the last couple of years is when I have really knuckled down and have really tried to work on being consistent, because that's the most important thing, is being consistent, and because people look forward to your posts. They know, oh, what did Holly post today? I'll go and read that. So it's been a long time, and it's been consistent, and I guess it's only really starting to pay off now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying from, the moment you really started, becoming active on social media 4 years ago, it's taken you this amount of time to
essentially
make something of it, like money, for example.
Yeah.
So throughout that period, you were obviously becoming more, excited and more involved in the health and fitness world. You then got your certs, you were still a pharmacist, and then you started thinking, hey, there's a business here. So what did you first do to build or start your online coaching business? Did you just build a website and then start providing some plans? Give us a little bit of a roadmap here.
Well, I made sure that my social media was, really doing what I wanted it to do. It was...
So you've got a bit of a plan on your social media first?
Yeah, a formula, if you will.
Okay.
So I made sure that I was putting across the right message.
Yep.
And while I was doing that, I was building my plans and programs so that I had something to provide whilst my social media was growing. And then I made a website and then started selling my plans through my website.
So there are some considerable investments that need to be made initially before you can even start selling anything.
Yeah.
And in the starting phases of this whole business, you can't even guarantee that you're going to get any sales when you do launch that website.
Oh, there's no way. And a lot of people do just, they create a website and they have a product to sell, but they don't really put in any thought as to how that's going to sell. I mean, you can't just put something up and expect it to sell. You have to put in the work in terms of marketing and getting that product out there in people's faces, like constantly, in order for it to be successful at all.
Absolutely. Starting a website and not telling anyone about it, it's just like opening a shop in a dark alley that no one walks by. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So, you know what? It sounds like this is a lot of hard work. Do you think that people are kind of in fairyland when it comes to building, for example, online businesses or online coaching businesses specifically? Because that's something that you know about. Do you think that it takes a lot more work than what people give it credit for?
People have no idea how much work it takes.
How long do you work? Let's say right now, you're just starting to really, make a name for yourself. You have 60,000 followers on Instagram, 12,000 on Facebook.
62,000.
62,000.
Thank you.
You have VIP mailing lists and all of these sorts of things. That's a lot to maintain.
It is a lot to maintain.
So tell me about the kind of hours that you do.
From when I wake up to when I go to sleep.
So 12, 13, 14 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more than a full-time job. People think, these social media influencers or online coaches or whatever have the easiest lives. But, it's not a 9 to 5 when you're doing this. It's constantly in your thoughts from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. It's constantly engaging on these social media platforms. It's replying to people I've got a Facebook group, so it's constantly maintaining that and making sure that people's questions are answered. It's replying to emails. It's ensuring that I have relevant content. It's ensuring that I have great posts and captions to go along with that content on several different platforms. It's a lot of work.
I can attest to it. It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't really get to see you from the moment we wake up to the moment we sleep, and I know during that whole period you're working on your business.
Yeah.
So when we talk about influencers out there, and I know that there's a stigma out there when it comes to influencers and how they appear on social media. So the stigma might be that some social media influencers are fake, and what they provide on social media and what they post is fake. What do you have to say about that? What's your idea about this stigma that's out there about social media influencers? I know it's a broad question, but...
It is, and I definitely, I agree. I agree to a certain extent that there are definitely influencers or online coaches out there that are in it for the wrong reasons. And that becomes quite obvious when you meet them in person. So I like to pride myself on the fact that what you see is what you get. And people that will meet me in real life will attest to that, and they'll say, you're exactly like how you are on social media, because that's me. My focus is always to be, number one, relatable, number two, honest, always, and a good role model for people as well. So I want to provide a good example, and for me that is not just posting, my highlight reel, but also my struggles as well. And I think that's really important. So as you said, we've just been at the fitness shows the past couple of weekends, and it definitely did highlight a few people who I guess maybe don't practice what they preach, or who are actually very different in person. So I can definitely agree with that statement, but there are a lot of people as well who are absolutely incredible, and they're exactly like how they are on their social media, if not even more amazing in real life. So
I guess that's just life, right? So many people don't really know who they are yet. There's insecurities, there's all these
Yeah,
things,
for sure.
especially in the fitness world.
Yes.
The amount of insecurities you see at a fitness show is unbelievable.
Yeah. A lot of body dysmorphia as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that one of your keys to success on social media, that you come across as being authentic?
I like to think so. That's definitely the most important thing to me, and it's what I always try and put across with my posts, and hopefully people agree. But I think that should be the number one rule for everyone on social media, because a lot of people are getting lost in that sea of fakeness, if you will. And yeah, it's really sad as well, because people aren't exactly honest about the methods or the ways that they get to achieving, you know, their physique or their looks or their bodies. And that I really struggle with that, because it's putting, you know, the wrong message out there for people who are following them and who do look up to them. You know, they're like, well, this is what she said she does, and that's what I'm doing. So it's hard for me, because I think it's really important to be honest always about the methods you're using and all of that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I struggle with that, and I feel for people who are following people who aren't being honest.
Yeah. And I think something that we get all the time, and a statement that a lot of clients that are starting new businesses say, is that they're worried that their market is saturated.
Yes.
Okay, there's so many people that are PTs. There are so many people opening cafes, especially here on the Gold Coast. There are so many people doing what I want to do. And we always say, like, I don't believe in saturation. You just need to stand out from the crowd.
Exactly.
And so we have a lot of online coaches like yourself who are clients of ours, who probably makes up 15% of our business, or other influencers in other markets. And I think what you've touched on is so important, and something that we always say to our clients is being authentic is actually one of the best ways to stand out from the crowd, because everyone can see what the top personality in that particular industry is doing, and everyone tries to follow and mimic that person. So much so that they end up not being themselves.
Yes.
They think that they have to be something that they're actually not.
Yeah.
But the people following them want to see who they are as people, and that's
Exactly.
something I think that you've nailed, and probably one of the biggest successes to your growth on your social media pages. Obviously, I want to get more into the business side of things, but I think it's important for people to understand some of your struggles. You do suffer with rheumatoid arthritis and other autoimmune diseases.
Yes.
You're very open about it.
Yeah.
And other people might shy away from saying those things for whatever reason, insecurities or whatnot. But that actually helps you, because other people can relate to it. Other people have these problems. We're all human. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree, and I just wanted to touch on the fact that you said, you know, people just tend to follow someone and end up sort of mimicking them in a way. And I have to be honest, I was one of those people when I first started. I definitely got lost in all of that, because I didn't know who I was. And I can openly say that, 100%. I didn't know who I was. I wasn't really, you know, in tune with, I guess, the message that I really wanted to put out there, and the way that I wanted to portray myself. I thought that in order to be popular on social media or successful, that I needed to be like these other Insta models and, you know, these fitness models who look amazing 24/7. And then I was constantly comparing myself to others, and, you know, I went through the whole body dysmorphia thing and all of that. And then I finally, I don't know, one day it just clicked. I'm just like, why am I trying to be like everyone else when I should just be like me? And I think it was really important having that point of difference as well. Being a pharmacist, you know, I almost didn't want people to know that I was a pharmacist when I first started. I don't know why. I honestly can't even tell you why. But And then I was just like,
I think the world was ruled by looks.
yes, it was.
And you're almost insecure about your educational background.
Oh, I honestly was, and it's barbaric talking about it now. But I think that once I was just like, Holly, embrace yourself.
Yeah.
Like, embrace who you are and what you've done and your knowledge and all of that. And once I started putting that across as my message on social media, I seemed to gain a lot more respect and following, and it goes back to that whole stigma of being fake and all of that. And I think people could see that perhaps I was being fake.
Yeah.
I wasn't being myself. And then once I just started putting across my message and being real, relatable, honest, people started following me more closely and were engaging more on my social media platforms. And then I realized this is what I should be doing.
It's so interesting, isn't it? And now, we've been in this industry for a long time now and working directly with athletes like yourself. You've been so directly involved in it from an athlete perspective or an online coach. Excuse me. And it's interesting to see the people who actually are financially successful from this are the ones that are very smart, putting out a lot of knowledge, a lot of valuable content, people that upskill constantly. And it's not necessarily the ones who you might think, from a looks perspective, are the ones that would be making the most money.
It's so true. That it just goes to show how important it is to continually provide value, continually upskill, like you said, and really just create that presence of being a trusted resource that people can rely on.
I think it goes back to that whole, the whole idea of going deep, not so wide. More about substance than, obviously about looks. And look, that obviously approach that you've, switched and now you're embracing yourself, you're educating people, you're bringing out your knowledge and all of these amazing qualities that you have, it's now translated into deals with large businesses like Chemist Warehouse, for example, and INC Sports Nutrition.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact that so many people out there want to become an ambassador for a brand, whether it's a supplement brand, nutrition brand, whatever it is. What are some tips that you can give them and tell us about your story about, being involved with such a massive organisation like that?
That's an interesting question, and it is quite involved, but it definitely goes back to consistency. So I actually found out that the COO of Chemist Warehouse had been following me for 2 years on social media. So 2 years of me being consistent and constantly providing value and being myself then finally led to him sending me an email inquiring as to whether I'd be interested in coming on board. So it all comes back to hard work, to be honest. Just constantly putting in that work, upskilling and being consistent.
So was it always your goal to be associated with a brand like that?
To be honest, I didn't really have any goals. It was just getting my message out there, and that's all that's been driving me. It hasn't been, and this is again when we go back to talking about other influencers or online coaches, it hasn't always been about the financial gain.
Yeah.
It's always been about providing value, helping people, in terms of diet, training, lifestyle, mindset, self-confidence, and this is just what's come of it.
Yeah.
So
I think so many people can learn from this experience that you've had. Even if you didn't have the goal to be associated with such a massive organisation, some other people might have that goal. But they can now hear your message and hear your experience that someone was following you 2 years ago, and they were consistently watching your page and everything that you posted, And you may have posted something that could have turned them off forever, but
Yeah.
you stuck to who you were, and luckily, or however it worked, they wanted to work with you. So would you say to other people out there who have a goal to be associated with someone like that they need to be patient, but they need to maintain a good image, reputation, put out a good, strong message of knowledge and education and value and all these sorts of things? Would you now establish that as like a key for becoming a brand ambassador?
Well, I guess it depends on the person and the type of brand that they want to work with.
Yep.
If I was to work with any brands, it would definitely be in that realm of providing knowledge and being informative. But not everyone has those goals, and that's understandable. So just making sure that everything that you post is consistent with the message that you're putting across.
Yeah.
So that has to be, the number one rule. And then obviously being consistent, constantly being in people's faces, but not in a way that, turns people off as well, or makes people get sick of you, because that can definitely happen as well. So, it's just being in people's faces the right amount, and just being consistent. I can't state how important it is to be consistent. Yeah.
And let's turn this on the head and say, what if we were talking to businesses out there that wanted to start moving into this social media world? They've heard about the power of influencer marketing, and they're looking at people in their areas that they might want to reach out to and align with. As an influencer and a brand ambassador, do you think it's a good idea for businesses to align themselves with a brand ambassador, and why? Give us a little bit of an insight into your thoughts about it.
Social media is so powerful these days, and a lot of businesses that are stuck in that, or companies that are stuck in that old school mentality, are getting left behind because they're not embracing the power of social media. So I think that brand ambassadors are such an amazing way to get your brand and your products out there, because you are essentially utilizing someone's entire following and database to project your message.
Yep.
So what a powerful way to really, get your brand out there by utilizing other people's following and their engagement, and then by getting multiple brand ambassadors, your reach is just so extensive.
Sure.
It's actually such a powerful way to advertise and to market your business, but it's still very underutilized by a lot of businesses out there. So I definitely...
Everyone's still just figuring this out, aren't they?
I think so. People are only just realizing the importance of it. Social media is absolutely incredible.
And I think it's important, you haven't had to really think of it this way because the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah.
But having a brand ambassador on board humanizes a brand, a company.
Yes.
So if you look at Instagram or Facebook, for example, if a company page posts a photo, I can almost guarantee you that it's going to get less engagement than probably what a personal page would get.
Yeah.
So putting a person in front of your business humanizes your business, and it also allows people to see what kind of a business you are. So I think it's really important that businesses align themselves with ambassadors that share the same message.
Exactly. It all goes back to that.
Yeah.
And I think as well, if you've got loyal followers who obviously, follow closely what you do, and they really listen to the advice you give and, what you recommend. And then by aligning with a brand, you're essentially creating loyal followers for that brand as well. So, and I think that should be obviously the key purpose for most businesses is to really just gain that loyal following, because they're going to be the ones that are consistently buying their products, you know, embracing new products and really making the brand successful. So that should definitely be the focus.
So if a business right now was like, all right, Holly, you've won me over, I want to get an influencer on board, how do I go about doing it? How do they get in contact with people like yourself, for example?
I mean, they should definitely follow someone for a while.
Yep.
And make sure that that person does align with the goals of the business, the message of the business, and then essentially just communicate with them, be it through Instagram or Facebook or email. Get a feel for what the person is like, because again, people are very different to how they portray themselves on social media. So just ensuring that that person really is a good fit, and then going from there.
Sounds fantastic. And look, I know you're extremely busy,
Yeah.
so I will wrap this up. I do want to go back and just ask you a little bit more, because I think it's very important about building a relationship with your following and how important that is for sales. So tell us a little bit about the importance of building that relationship and how you're able to do that at scale and how that translates to sales now for your online platform.
So for me, it's always been about creating a loyal following, like I was talking about. And it's honestly not that hard to do. It's engaging with your followers on social media. You know, I comment back to every single post, and that's me personally doing that.
So that's a key. You need to comment back and engage with your fans.
Yes. And then, that's on Instagram and Facebook. I definitely take the time to comment to people who have taken the time to leave a positive comment on my social media. That means a lot to me. So I want to let them know that. I've also created a private women's only Facebook group. And again, this was about creating my tribe, my little community of women. And because social media, for the most part, I think social media is amazing, but it can also become a negative place as well for body shaming, and it can really affect a lot of women's self-confidence. I know that as I said, I really struggled with that as well. You know, you think you need to look this way in order to be popular or successful, which is just not the case. So I wanted to create a safe environment for my women to be able to communicate, share things that they might be struggling with, and just be able to create a positive environment. So I think that that's done really well in the purpose that I wanted it to essentially
make sales.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing. Like, so you've built your own engagement group that you've been able to turn into your tribe, another key word.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there that's looking to really build a loyal following that, and I don't like saying it, but eventually it converts to sales, because
it definitely does convert to sales, but again, it's because they trust you.
Yep.
You've provided this service for them, or this great community for them. They feel happy. You know, you've shown them more of your personality, which is really important as well, letting people really see who the real you is.
Yep.
And, you know, if they like you and, you know, that you tick all the boxes for them, then it's going to make them more inclined to buy products from you or you know, engage with your services.
And how often would you put up a sales post?
Never.
Never put up
Honestly, once in a blue moon.
So I know for a fact that your tribe sell your products for you. That's how much they've become rabid fans, because you've just immersed yourself in this group and you're always engaging with people every single day. You're spending hours talking to these people, building lasting relationships, that they end up selling the products for you to their friends and to other people. And so that's the power of social media, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So,
and word of mouth is so important.
and social media is word of mouth
It
at scale.
exactly is, yeah, on a much larger scale.
And I think that's so important, and that's such an important thing for businesses to understand. And I know for a fact so many businesses consider, people that comment or like their posts as just numbers. So it's so easy to get caught up in the impressions, the analytics, the reach, the engagements per post and comments and all these sorts of things, that they start to just look at those numbers rather than what's actually happening. And they don't actually have procedures to engage back with those fans. So they're missing a big part of it. So when they say that they're not getting sales from social media, there's a missing link, isn't there?
Yes.
I think that's so important. So, Hol, let's wrap this up. And why don't you tell us just your top tips to growing your social media platform?
Okay, so provide value, obviously. Be consistent. Be patient. Be real. Be honest. Be relatable. And be consistent with your message as well.
So know your target audience.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There you have it. Well, I so appreciate you being on.
Thanks for
this
having
with
me.
us. I think so many people get so much out of this, and there's so many people looking to get into your world, and I think that you being able to give them some advice is so powerful. So there you have it, guys. That's another episode of The Blueprint, powered by Athletic Agencies, with our girl, Holly Louise, the Fit Pharmacist. Some massive knowledge bombs and advice coming your way. Guys, if you want to follow or learn a little bit more about what Holly does, I'll put all of the info in the description below, but you can check her out at www.thefitpharmacist.com.au. Alright guys, well I really hope you appreciated or got something out of this series. If you did, share it on with a friend who might appreciate it. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, like our page, and wait for another awesome episode of The Blueprint. Thanks for having us, guys.